We will not copyright or trademark that. We do not have the rights to this at all. Please do not sue us. Thank you.
Welcome to These Unprecedented Gays, featuring Joe Granelli and Paul Smith. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review wherever you stream your podcasts. Check us out on Instagram at TUGaysPod and email us at tugayspod@yahoo.com. We hope you enjoy. I didn't figure out how to start the episode.
I know. I was like, I didn't hear the clicks. You hear the clicks?
You know what? We never really hear the clicks all the time, so it's okay.
I think
that's why I love it when Andy throws to us like we're on a live show, like we're just back from commercial break and go.
I thought he's pointing because you did something wrong.
That too, probably.
He's like, Paul, gotta go.
So I'm Paul,
and I'm Joe,
and we're These Unprecedented Gays.
That's us.
I know. How was your week?
I feel like a lot has happened.
Well, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, we had to give thanks. Well, for me, because we went out of town up to the Bay Area. And then I feel so bad because Nick was definitely overwhelmed meeting a huge Italian family of 40 people. He's over there in the corner shaking his head. But we flew up and then had Thanksgiving at my dad's cousin's house in, I think, Burlingame or San Bruno. And it was the first time that the families got together after COVID. So 2019, 3 years. It was good to see everybody, and then got back and then back to work. And then I don't think I did anything on Black Friday because I refused to go out on Black Friday because it's insane. We flew back on Black Friday, but I have a PSA about shopping. If you'll walk on the journey along with me.
Okay, let's go.
So we went to Bed Bath & Beyond because I was going to get some new pans, and you guys will be proud because I got stainless steel. And I don't know how to use them, but they're new. And so the only reason I got them is because they were on sale online. And so the PSA to everyone out there is if there's an online price, do a price check and they'll match it.
Oh, there you go.
And I don't know if it's because Bed Bath & Beyond is going out of business and they don't care.
Are they?
I think they're going bankrupt.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
The manager was like, yeah, whatever, here you do. It's 25% off. Okay. And then the other thing, my PSA is I had my gum graft procedure in November sometime. I don't remember. And I got a bill and it said they wouldn't cover anything. And so the PSA is call your insurance.
But
did
I not tell you that? I told you to check your insurance.
Well, but
make sure.
So let me tell you what happened. And this, again.
What happened was.
Exactly. So they submitted it 3 times. For whatever reason, the doctor submitted the first one and it was here's the 2 procedures, whatever, this is what we're submitting to the insurance. Then the insurance approved them, but then it was a pre-treatment. And then when I actually had it, they submitted it again for each of the surgeries. And then they submitted another one at the end. And I was like, why are you submitting so much?
Okay, here's the thing. Even if you get pre-approval from the insurance and that's what they said they're going to pay, they may still not pay that. Because I tell people all the time, we can send a pre-approval in. I don't care. But just know that doesn't guarantee that that's what they're going to pay. And people are like, but you sent this in. I'm like, uh-huh. And see where it says not guarantee of payment, right there? Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
Yes, exactly. Results may vary.
Well, long story long, if you have anything insurance related, make sure you read your documents and call your insurance people.
You can call your insurance people too. They'll lie to you. They don't care.
Paul, don't tell me this. Don't tell me these things. Brooks, who I spoke to on the phone, was very pleasant. It was very helpful. I feel bad because I got a voicemail after, and it was a call to ask a survey because I have don't ever it goes straight to voicemail. I would have given him all A+, but I wasn't allowed to do that.
Okay.
So that was my week. How are you?
Good. Thanksgiving. I was actually able to do stuff for Thanksgiving because, we went to Palm Springs a couple weeks ago and we ended up having to come home early.
Because of what?
because I got COVID.
Miss Rona hit you, finally.
Okay, and I'm pissed.
Why?
Because Andy had it super easy, and then I got hit hard. Like, I wanted to rip my fucking nose off. Like, that's how bad it was.
Wait,
I know.
Who got their latest booster, though?
Oh, Andy did. I didn't get my latest booster, but it was only for like 2 days, and then after 5 days, I was able to go back to work the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and actually with the mask on and stuff. And then it's been like 12, 14 days now without a temperature, so I'm like, I am free and clear to live my life again. Yeah. But Thanksgiving was good. We did made my cranberry sauce and everything. And now we decorated the house and stuff, so we're excited about that. So,
and your big ball.
Huh?
Your big ball.
My big ball, my big ornament out front that I love. So we're very happy about that.
We're ball-centric.
We are. A lot of balls around here. Everywhere. So that means it's time for our favorite segment, which is like our only segment. Really.
I know.
I say this all the time, but I'm like, it is my favorite.
If you think about the break of I think there's like 3 segments. Like,
okay, intro, there's like, how's our week?
Mouth to mouth, and then
what we're going to talk
chat.
About. Yeah. Whatever the subject is.
Okay. Topic du jour.
Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't know you were French.
Yeah. So it's time for mouth to mouth. Mouth to mouth resuscitation. So we do have a special guest in studio with us, Dr. Charles Beale. Is that how you say your last name? Say your last name?
Beale.
Okay,
sure.
there you go.
You can call me Charlie.
Okay. Do I have to call you doctor?
Always. No.
Is there a doctor in the house?
There is a doctor in the house.
Charlie's fine. Yeah, doctor and jazz education. You don't want to. There's going to be no use.
Oh, I would flaunt that all day, every day.
Well, he is the artistic director of the San Diego Gay Men's Chorus, and he's here to talk to us. But before we do that, we're going to do mouth to mouth. So, Joe, what are you obsessed with?
You're gonna laugh at me.
I'm always going to laugh at you
because I feel like I'm very strange in what I like and whatever. So the first one is the Spotify Wrapped list, the 2022.
They came out, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like one of those things like Tell Me You're Gay without telling me you're gay.
Yeah.
And so my top songs were Rain on Me by Lady Gaga.
Surprise.
Oops, where is it? Better Off Alone, that techno
LSDJ.
song. This Will Be an Everlasting Love.
Natalie Cole.
It's Raining Men.
The Weather Girls or RuPaul and the Weather Girls?
Oh, no, the original.
Okay.
And then Run to You by Whitney Houston.
Oh, God, you're so gay.
And it was to add insult to injury, it was you listened to Lady Gaga 133 times, and it's you listened to 30,000 minutes of music, and it's the same playlist on repeat, and it's whatever, it's fine. And then my second thing that is giving me life is I bought a pH meter. And you're going to have to hear me out on this journey. So Nick is...
Are you checking your water or something?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm trying to have more alkaline water because when I was I don't know, in my early or late 20s, I was not diagnosed, but my ENT was you might have silent reflux. And I was whatever. And so ever since I started working remotely and I'm on calls all day, I get hoarse all the time. And so not the animal. Okay. Right there. Had to clarify. And so I was I need to test the pH of everything so that I'm in a basic state.
Oh my God, you're like a swimming pool.
Yeah. Well, and I got it from Amazon and it's a swimming pool pH meter. But so then what I have to do is I have to get the standards from work because we have a quality control lab and I have to kind of take some, but not let them know.
Oh,
so I can calibrate it.
It's like Staples. It's fine.
It is a staple. So those are my 2. What's yours? Or multiples?
So I only have 1, but I'm really loving Pink's new song, Never Gonna Not Dance Again. It's a great song. And
is it new?
It's new. Yeah, okay. It's her newest single. And it was funny because I was reading about the Club Q shooting, and then this song came on. And I actually got emotional about it because I was you know what? I'm not going to let something like this scare me. And it's never... So it was to hear, I'm never not going to dance again. I'm going to live my life and not be scared and stuff like that. So it was that was actually really cool and touching for me because I was I got... When I saw her perform it, and then I watched the video and stuff like that. I was like, okay, so now it's like on repeat for me right now.
Is it like a upbeat song or?
Yeah, it's a very upbeat song, but it was like it's for some reason it just struck with me, like, and especially in that moment, like thinking about the club shooting and stuff like that and everything. So
it's almost like music is transformative.
Exactly.
Oh, look at that segue.
Thematically.
So what about you, Charlie? What are you obsessed with right now?
Wow. I don't think I can follow the gayness of either of you.
It's fine. It's okay.
Don't worry, not many people can.
I'm already gay enough. So, I mean, I can go the nerdy route. I've been listening to beatbox battle YouTube videos. There's a world beatbox battle championship that you may or may not know about. But because I'm into The Voice, that I'm obsessed by it, and particularly by it, and I'm currently an artist. They go in and out, but the latest one I like is called So, Japanese artist. Who's,
so it's all beatboxing.
It's all beatboxing.
Huh.
Okay.
And electronics plus beatboxing. So it's this new thing where you know where you do the looping things that you have a little machine. That
so they start
loops.
doing different things and they loop
And
it.
they
so they
do
create
certain. Well, first of all, he makes sounds with his mouth that I've never heard anyone else ever make at all. And then he's really great at recording them in real time and making these amazing grooves. I mean, which are totally up to the minute dance music grooves.
Wow.
But I've been a bit obsessed with this beatboxing, partly because I can't do it.
I was just going to say, so is it because you practice?
It's not something, no, because there's that. Here's something else. I'm obsessed by the Dunedin Consort, which is this early music group that does lots and lots of Bach. Run by a guy called John Butt at the no laughing there who's from Edinburgh in Scotland, and he's an academic and he's got some really exciting ideas about how to play early choral music particularly. So, but anyway, I also like Banana Republic, if that helps.
Interesting.
So, no, because what happened was that my husband came for Thanksgiving. He's still working in New York. I've been in San Diego now for 6 months. He came to visit, and we went shopping on Black Friday, because what do you do on Black Friday? It was a mistake because it was so crowded. But anyway,
oh Lord,
we went to the San Isidro Supermall place.
Yeah. Las Americas?
Yeah,
That's an amazing deal.
Oh yeah.
And and wandered about and went to the Banana Republic factory shop, which is one of my temptations of choice. And came back having spent rather too much money on shirts. But.
Good thing you didn't miss the exit, because you missed that exit and you went right into Mexico.
Yeah.
No. I saw actually because I'm also driving in California is a thing for me right now. I'm still looking at exactly how to do that. I can manage to get to Trader Joe's and back again, but beyond that, it gets awkward.
Las Americas. When you're going, it's like last U.S. exit, and you're like, okay.
Yes,
I think I need to get off here.
It's not the leaving; it's the coming back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're not going to let you U-turn in there,
I don't think so.
Also, if you want to know how to beatbox really easily, all you do is go boots and cats, boots and cats.
Oh my god! What was that? Boots and cat.
Boots and cat.
Okay.
Boots and cats. Boots and cats.
Oh my god! You're on the YouTube. We're gonna see Paul. Yeah.
I'm gonna get a call from Pentatonics to join them.
They do. I will say though, like what they do with their voice, like because you don't think
mouths.
they could do that. Mm-hmm. Like the sounds, you're like, wait a minute, like it's some Oh, don't
skills. There's some skills there.
Yeah,
yes. They got mouth skills.
Oh, Lord.
All right. So, like I said, Dr. Charles Beale is Charlie is the artistic director for the San Diego Gay Men's Chorus. Yeah. So, can you tell our listeners a little bit about you and your background and how you got here to San Diego?
Ooh. So I'm obviously, you can hear that I'm originally a Brit. I was born in the UK. And I had a classical music training originally. I did private schools and then Cambridge, which leaves you with no identity whatsoever at the end of it.
Except you're British.
To everyone else, but yeah. And then I was, basically, long story short, I became a jazz educator. So I ended up doing college level teaching in my 20s and 30s, mostly, directing big bands. And I was still doing some choirs, but I was basically a jazz musician. And then they started to send me around the world doing that and teaching teachers how to teach jazz. And I wrote a couple of books and all that kind of stuff. So I was like one of the jazz educators, top jazz educators in the UK, teaching at the Royal College of Music, which is a bit like Juilliard or something like that. And then the London Game and Chorus were looking for a conductor. And I got the call saying, was I interested in auditioning because they'd seen me do some conducting somewhere or something. And then they offered me the job and I was like, oh, okay, yes.
What do I do now?
And so I added the London Game and Chorus to my like freelance roster and did that for 5 years. It was like a 2 days a week job, something like that. My first gig was in the Sydney Opera House. They had amazing PR and marketing and contacts. And so, and they've been going much shorter. They were started in the early 90s. So they've been going like 15 years or something when I joined. And, but a very exciting group, very young. And they were looking for somebody who could just do cool things, if you know what I mean. But, and then I was basically there more just the conductor because when you're part-time, that's all there's really time to do. But the people who were managing the group were, you know, if you get good gays in a major city, they are very well connected and wealthy. And so we were doing European tours and we sang in all kinds of cool places. And that led me to sort of 2006. And then there's a story which I'll tell you the briefer version of how basically New York City Gay Men's Chorus heard about me because I went to a conference in New York City and appeared on the podium in New York very, very briefly to say thank you very much for something they'd done to us. In London, we did a joint collaboration and it was fun. And I was there. So I thought, well, I'll just go and say hi. So I stood on the podium and said hello. And something felt kind of good. And then on the website at the bottom of their website, at the bottom of the page, it said music director search, send in a resume. And I was like, well, I'm from London. I'm sure there's someone in New York who can do this because it's New York. But, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Long story short, 6 months later, there I am. In my own apartment in New York, starting in September 2007 as the director of the New York City Gay Men's Chorus, which was, you know, just one of those lucky things where I bumped into somebody who said, and then showed up on the podium and then looked at the bottom of the website and there it was and off I went and then it just kind of happened. And I had no ambitions really to move to the States or anything. It was just like a really good gig. And then I was at the point where my life was like, okay, time to change to something new. And then this amazing opportunity suddenly appeared in front of me and I just jumped hard with both feet thinking I have no idea what this is going to be like. And it was a lot. Let's just say, because the New York gays are the New York gays. And
you preach.
Right. And then spent 12 years in New York City.
Wow.
From 2007 to 2019. And then decided to sort of take a break. I'd done enough. And finished with a big show, which was the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall Riots show called Quiet No More, which we commissioned and was done by 25 choruses across the US that summer, with two big performances, one at LA in the Disney Hall there and one in London in New York at Carnegie Hall, which I conducted. Wow. So I kind of went out on a high. And then thought, you know what, I'm going to take a year out. And then February 2020, that year out became eventually 3 years out. Yeah. And I wrote a book instead because that was my big COVID activity. And then started looking for jobs. But I was like picky in a way and not quite ready to jump. And COVID affected all of our mental healths and enthusiasm for different things. And so it took time for me to find the right fit. And then I did an audition in San Diego and stood on the podium and it just felt right. And I hadn't conducted a choir for 2.5 years and realized I was really energized about it. I don't, really wanted to do it. And the energy was palpable from the singers back at me as I was directing and everyone afterwards. You can tell there's a sort of animated chatter and everyone. And I was just like, oh, that went well. I wonder what's going to happen. And again, 6 months later, here I am. But it's early days in San Diego for me. And it's a real life change. I mean, funnily enough, the difference between London and New York, I mean, it's really not that much. It's a big,
Really?
diverse city with a subway system,
Yeah.
tons of musical theater, and nobody has a car. Moving to New York is basically exactly the same. New York to California is actually a much more of a culture shock.
Oh, yeah.
In a way. At least for me, because I probably hadn't really acknowledged the rest of America while I was living in New York anyway.
Well, and you've also gone from like New York, where there's like 4 seasons, to San Diego, where there's like 1.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's cold right now. I'm using air quotes. I mean, I'm cold, but like
I'm not complaining so far, I'll say. I'm not complaining.
I mean, definitely, because you don't need those giant jackets anymore, and you're not sloshing through snow all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So now you are also the founder and president of the Global Alliance of Queer Choirs,
Yes.
and you also work with gala
Yes.
choruses,
Yes.
correct? So, like, talk to us about the Global Alliance of Queer Choruses. What is that?
So the Global Alliance of Queer Choirs is an organization that I started about 18 months ago. I have a strong commitment to international relationships. Clearly, I'm a Londoner who's moved to the US, so I have some kind of lived experience of the differences between choirs in one place and another, and also, more importantly, their similarities. Like in the end, funnily enough, you'll hear "I Am What I Am" being sung on every continent by a gay choir somewhere in the world. It will be being sung.
It's actually being sung right now
Right.
somewhere.
I think I hear it. Yeah.
So basically, and I suppose a backstory. So there's an umbrella organization called Gala Choruses, which represents nearly 200 choruses across the whole of the US, and North America and Canada and Mexico. And like anyone who's involved in choruses can be involved in the leadership. And I ended up becoming a board member 5-6 years ago, and I ran the international committee of Gala choruses. I suppose it was called the External Relations Committee. So once a month, we have a call, and it still goes on now, where a representative from Australia, New Zealand, and like Fiji and places like that, a representative from Southeast and South Asia, representative from Europe, representative from North America, representative from South America. We don't have anyone for Africa at the moment. We all get together on this Zoom call for an hour, and initially we do regional updates, and we're all involved in putting together festivals or big festivals. So, for example, let's say 200, just under 200 choirs in the US. There's another over 100 in Europe. I think 38 in Germany alone. And then what's going on in Southeast Asia? Well, who knows? I can tell you that in Japan, currently, there are 14 LGBT choruses, 6 in Tokyo alone. And so on and so forth. And that people just don't know. You tend to know about your region a bit, but even then, who knows how many choruses there are even in the US. But the cool part about what we do is we get together. First of all, we do things like, let's not have festivals in the same year so that we can each go to each other's.
Look, China,
right?
we're not doing
Yes,
that
yeah.
this year,
Right,
because,
right. And then secondly, we share best practice. So, for example, if you're putting together a festival in Southeast Asia, I have a friend, Sien Chu, who is the leader of the Southeast Asian Gay Choruses regional organization called Proud Voices Asia. And he also puts on a festival, but it's completely different from the festival in the US. They don't know about each other nearly as much in the choruses in there, and they all speak different languages. And so they have a whole day. If their festival is 4 days long, they'll spend a whole day simply in meetings and social activities, talking to each other, beginning to, discuss things like legal frameworks. And like, for example, did you know that today Singapore repealed Section 377, which was an old colonial law that the British instituted way back when, criminalizing homosexuality. The same law appears in India and in Bangladesh and in lots of other countries. And in Singapore, it was repealed today.
Wow.
Which is kind of cool. So homosexuality is no longer a criminal offense in Singapore. I know that because I'm on the right Twitter feeds and, and stuff to be able to kind of celebrate this stuff and be able to then share, for example, if the choir sings about it in the next week. So that's what's cool. And so the Global Alliance of Queer Choirs is basically an alliance of regional organizations, right? So, and we all get together and then we can plan collaborations within our choirs, individual choirs. We can say, oh, that choir is doing the same sort of thing as that choir in somewhere else. Or we can simply share good practice. And so, and it's only been going 18 months. It's a very young organization. We've got hardly any money. We're really there just to collaborate and communicate and get relationships going between all the different parts of the world and begin to share information about what's going on. It turns out that the US may be going slightly backwards right now and everyone's feeling a little unsafe. But as I say, in Southeast Asia, also in Mexico, things are growing like topsy right now in the LGBT world, and particularly in queer singing. So it's a very exciting time to be collaborating with Mexico City and Tijuana, for example, as we're going to be doing in June. So anyway, that's the Global Alliance, and I'm the president. At least for 2 years, and then we have rules, so I'll stop being the president. Someone else will come.
How did you, what came to your mind to start that?
My dad was an internationalist and a diplomat and worked for the Foreign Office in the UK for a long time. So I've always, at the dinner table, there was always a sort of international aspect to what was going on, because that's just what he would talk about around his work. I also just think that there's more that brings together the LGBT communities than divides them. And there's a whole piece about cultural sensitivity, right? So, for example, the concept of transgender is completely different in India than it is in the US. And so if you, as a choir, arrive in India, you can just be very, very insensitive to trans and non-binary people who define themselves differently in India. But at the same time, get a bunch of people in a room and sing a gay song, and suddenly everyone comes together. And what I found is, as I say, that the repertoire tends to be quite similar wherever you are in the world. Everyone will tend to congregate towards the same things. And the messages are, there's the anthemic themes, there's the we are a community themes, there's the we are sad about something that's just happened themes. And all these choirs have the same kind of mission, which is we sing because singing brings people together. Also, we're a safe space. Yeah. It was, and also we want to raise our voices and just be like equality and to raise awareness. And it's been interesting with the Colorado Springs, the horrible Colorado Springs shooting, when Dan Savage was talking about how bars and clubs are safe spaces, and the original safe spaces for gays and lesbians, as they were called at that point. And yes, but there were also gay choirs from the 80s, and that was a really important thing. And it's interesting how recently I felt that feeling of safety come back to our groups. It was the same in New York. Someone got stabbed in the Village in New York in 2017, 18, somewhere around there. It was the first one in 21st hate crime in the Village for a very, very long time. And suddenly there was this, we rehearsed in the Village. So suddenly on a Monday night in the winter, coming in the dark to rehearsal, there was a very different feeling in the room. And we actually had to stop and talk about it as a group for 10 or 15 minutes and just be like, how are we all feeling? Has it changed how we feel about walking the streets? And how do we feel about what the chorus means to us? And everybody said, actually, yeah, the chorus has suddenly become a safe space again. It's become when other places become unsafe, So that's what I do for a living, is create safe spaces that aren't bars and clubs, and then get people singing whether they like it or not.
Now, did you or Nick go to the last gala in Denver?
No, I think that was before.
Was probably the season before you guys sang.
Was that 2016?
Yeah, because the 2021 was cancelled.
Yeah, because I joined chorus in 2017. I think.
I will say, me and Andy had both the same feeling. It was such a great experience to be at gala, because it was you were surrounded by all these other people who are like you, who are into the same thing you are and there to perform and just want to put on the best show they possibly can. But you want to go see.
And New York opened it.
Yeah.
And like
with Orlando.
Right. And it's like, and that we like packed into there, like up top, standing room only, because we were like, we have to see Orlando perform and we have to, and that was another great feeling. It's like they did a flash mob at the mall that was there that we participated in. And then they did like right outside the theater area, they had like a bunch of different choruses playing. And then I think there was like an Asian chorus that came in.
Chinese chorus.
The Chinese chorus that was there. It's the first time they've had performed internationally.
Yeah.
And so it was like, that was such a cool feeling to have that many people in one space doing that. But it was also kind of hard because you wanted to see all these great choruses. And it was like, okay, where are we going to go? But it's like, not only was it like the big choruses, but you could go see like New Mexico Gay Men's Chorus or one of the lesbian choruses. But I will say a lot of the lesbian choruses, it was kind of like, here's a bunch of rain sticks and a drum circle.
What do you mean?
Like a lot of them were like, you would go see their show and it was like, oh, look, there's that woman with the rain stick.
What's a rain
bongo drum?
Are we talking about the things that they used to have in Brookstone?
Yes.
Like the stick and then you would turn it over and it would be like,
yes.
And there was kind of a standard costume. They all had sashes.
Right.
But
But that's okay.
I
But
want a rain
a lot
stick.
of them were really great. Like even, because you tend to think just like the gay men's choruses are what you're there to see, but like the lesbian choruses were just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
now we've got youth choruses as well.
Yeah.
And we've also got trans choruses, several trans choruses. And the scene's changing, I think, slowly. But yeah. So it's an interesting time in terms of all of that change that's happening in the movement right now. Like we're just about to start doing a schools project. And that seems like a real no-brainer right now for many choruses to be starting to look out. And schools and universities and churches are the three areas where 25 years ago, no one would have been accepted. No, the whole point of going to Gay Men's Chorus was because you couldn't be accepted in your church. Now, San Diego Gay Men's Chorus rehearses in a church every week for a start, and it's the most welcoming rainbow church in the known universe.
and you can see it from space.
Right, you can see it. Seriously. There's a serious amount of rainbow. But what's good about that is that you can make relationships and do joint projects and all fundraise and use church spaces where you can sound good. Similarly, schools where it's controversial and there are some school board issues right now. Far right people having infiltrated school boards, but there are also a lot of schools and colleges where they feel the need not just to reach out, but they want active help with inclusion. They want to get their queer singers really coming out and forward in their own groups. And for example, the issue of what happens if you have a trans voice in your high school choir. I think the current percentage is 2.5% of kids are identifying as trans or non-binary currently. And they are, who knew, going to the choir. That's where they feel safe. And high school teachers are going, I don't know what to do with a kid who's 13 on hormones or what to do if they, and those kinds of situations and context. So then they want help from us because we understand these things and we have the lived experience and we have people in our groups who can do it. And so going out into schools and, for example, if we sing for an hour to 300 kids in 8th grade, that's hugely beneficial to them. And what always happens is, the 2.5, whatever it is, the 5 to 10% in there who are like, oh, I see you. I'm going to be one of you in 10, 15 years time. And then it feels like there's a path and they come up and they ask questions and you've started a conversation through singing, which is a really easy peasy way in, and schools can't complain if you come in and sing.
So in the vein of inclusivity and diversity, do you think that at this point we no longer need the name Gay Men's Chorus or Women's Chorus, it's just like Queer Chorus or something, so it feels a little bit more inclusive to everyone?
It's that every chorus in the country is going through those questioned at the moment, and I think there's no single answer to that question. I think it depends on your tradition. For example, in New York, they've become what they call radically inclusive. So they definitely have women and. Does that what happen every time I say radically inclusive?
Cooper is also radically inclusive.
So they're a gay men's chorus that accepts women and trans and non-binary people, but they are going to continue to call themselves a gay men's chorus because of branding and because, if I go up to someone as I did and say I'm the artistic director of the New York City Gay Men's Chorus, they go, "Oh, like we have everyone seems to know who they are and what they stand for," and so that's good. But many of the choruses, for example, in Australia, have already changed their names. The Big Apple Corps in New York has just changed its name from the lesbian and gay Big Apple Corps, which has been there since the 80s and now calls itself the Queer Big Apple Corps, I think.
Wow.
And so it's a decision, and it depends on where you are in your development. In every chorus, there's going to be those people who are like, we struggled for this and this is what we stand for. And we are a gay men's chorus. And a guy in New York said to me once, we swam through stormy seas and we found an island and we planted a rainbow flag in it and we called it gay and lesbian. And that was our victory. And then we didn't really expect the next generation to say, but there's that island and that island and that island and that island and that island. And you've forgotten all about us and we feel marginalized. And so how you resolve that issue is tricky because these courses, some of them have been going for 40, 50 years. And so, it's an interesting question to do with legacy, really, and how long you've been going and what you want to achieve.
Look, we're asking the hard-hitting questions here. We're all about that journalistic integrity. So,
but no, I appreciate that because I feel like that's something I've always wondered. Because I mean, the times are changing, and it's like,
Bob Dylan.
Sure. But it's like, do you get on board or do you kind of like keep in like tradition, like you said, to like have the name, or do you then welcome the next kind of group of new people into it? So it's
I mean, I think that it's a generational thing and it will go in cycles, and some of the gay men's choruses are already changing their names.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you're in it, like in New York, there's the Empire City Men's Chorus. There's already a mixed chorus still called the Stonewall Choral. There's a youth chorus. There's a women's chorus. I mean, there's just whatever particular way you want to slice the pie, there'll be a chorus for you.
Ooh, there's pie?
And
it's choral pie.
Choral pie.
Oh.
But I agree. Gay men's choruses look a little anachronistic if they're not careful. They can.
That's a big word.
I know, right?
It's like you're a doctor.
Hey, come on, vocabulary.
Old school. They look a little old school.
So I want you to dish for us. Like,
okay.
What did you find what was like a great thing about working in London?
Right.
And what was something that you just did not enjoy about that?
About working in London.
With the Gay Men's Chorus, maybe
New York.
Or New York.
New York.
Like these big cities.
I would say that both London and New York, the gays have opinions. And they're
shocking.
pretty forthright about them.
But also because both of those cities are, like you said, musical theater, and these are people who like,
right.
A lot of them are within that community,
right,
of like wanting to be on stage.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
there's a professionalism. I mean, I will just say, in terms of things I loved, I discovered. I mean, this is the thing I love most to do is conducting men's choirs. I just love it, and so every time I do that, it feels like a warm bath, and coming back to it in San Diego has already been huge fun for me. I would say that the thing that I don't miss about either London or New York, as I say, is the continual kind of carping. And as an artistic director of one of these groups, it's a membership organization, and you do your best to empower everyone and give everyone a voice. And then at some point, they all have to shut up and sing, because otherwise we don't. It's a choir, right? So all said and done, And if they're not unified, it doesn't sound good if everyone's arguing. And
Right.
so you're continually trying to stop cliquiness. And are the old people talking to the younger people? Are the this people talking to the that people? Were we unfair last week about something? And both of these cities had very, very empowered memberships, and the choruses were really like tense, sometimes conflicted in like bad ways. And if you're managing that for a long time, it can be quite take it out on you. Because the person who has to stand up in front of everybody.
Ooh, that does not sound fun.
Yeah. Like you start off looking like Barack Obama.
Yes, right.
When you started the presidency, and then like at the end, it's like,
oh no.
after all the gray hair.
That said, I'm completely addicted. I'm now starting my third one, so there must be something about it that I like.
And how do you? Okay, because I watched La La Land, so I feel like I'm an expert on this now. But how do you teach jazz?
How do you teach jazz?
Because jazz is a feeling.
Yeah. I think you could say that about any aspect of music if you look at it that way. I mean, jazz is like anything else. Improvising is the thing that's different about jazz, right? And so you have to find ways of teaching jazz, which is basically giving people spaces to play stuff in that they want to play, but making sure that the spaces are different shapes. So sometimes they're very short, for example. Sometimes they're very long. Sometimes there's only one chord. Sometimes there's lots of chords. Sometimes it's on a familiar tune. Sometimes it's on a tune that nobody knows. And so the skills are, and it's all by ear. That's the other thing. So it's a lot of listening as opposed to working from notation.
What'd you say?
Did you getting me on all my pet projects?
Did you ever think that you would have landed up where you are today, kind of when you started off, or
In San Diego?
No, like your professional journey? I mean, like not conducting, but like teaching people how to teach. Like, did you ever think that you'd land kind of as artistic directing?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I mean, I arrived in New York as a choral director with a PhD in jazz. So I had a bit of catching up to do there to be like, just anatomy and physiology and making a good sound. And also, what the New York gays, how the New York gays had been taught to sing. And there's a very particular musical theater tradition there.
Very Broadway over there.
Yeah, very Broadway over there. And so, so that. And then once I jumped in, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I had a little question when I left New York, as I say. I was a little weary, and I'd been doing it for a long time. I needed a change and a break, and I did think about doing something else. And then, nah. Do you know what I mean? I just need a new soap opera. That's, new set of characters.
You've just progressively been moving more west.
More west,
right?
yes.
West, London.
End up in Australia.
He's gonna be like Guam.
Full transparency, I have no idea what's west of us. Hawaii?
I'm like, it's like Guam, Gay Men's Chorus.
Yeah. That has a good ring to it.
The GGMC.
Sure.
It's probably already been taken by some other group. Yeah.
All right. So you said that you've performed at the Sydney Opera House.
Yeah.
And when you were with the, I want to know about like some of your highlights because you performed with Sia with the New York Gay Men's Chorus, Alan Cummings.
That was the thing. I mean, one of the things about New York was just that we got a reputation for being easy to work with and quick. And so,
Well, you guys are fast and easy, basically.
Anything for money after so, 10 grand to work with Sia for an evening, we'll be there. But I mean, that was a pretty unique opportunity. I don't know whether, you can go and look up the video on YouTube, but they had us all in like cassocks and surplices, and we were singing in the church of the big cathedral, St. John's the Divine, but we all had Sia wigs on.
Oh my God.
And so there were like, I think 16 members of the chorus who were handpicked, and we sang Chandelier.
Okay.
And she sang with her back to the audience from the pulpit in this big cathedral. So you couldn't see her face because you could never see her face at that point. And we sang with Sia wigs.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if you sung with the wigs, how could they see you?
No,
Because she like covers her eyes, right?
It was all lip syncing. It was backing tracks.
No.
But did you guys record them?
No.
Is that why she was
Honestly,
turned around because she
so
couldn't
we-
lip sync her own song?
What the Milli Vanilli?
But it was, I mean, honestly, the sound in that space was so impossible. There's about a 10-second echo. It's an insane space.
Okay.
So it was really, it was for Pride, and it was going to be on national TV, and it was all about how it looked.
Yeah.
And it was a huge opportunity for us. But as happens a lot in those things, either you do go into a studio and they spend $5,000 on getting you recorded and sounding really great, or you show up and you lip sync to the backing vocals. And my job was to teach the chorus the backing vocals from the single.
I feel like
so
I
it was
just
one of
found out what
those.
was made in the sausage. Oh my god.
But,
I mean,
it was definitely a fun moment. And, you know, I can't remember the name of the dancer who does all of that dancing. And all this.
from
Millie Molly. It's something with an M.
It's from Dance Moms. She
The
was,
girl.
yeah.
The one that's in all of her videos.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Millie.
So there's
Maddie.
that. And then, we sang with Alan Cummings once, and that was real singing, if you like. That was us in a big semicircle around his band, and he was doing a night, a sort of cabaret night, but on a big stage. So that was great. And then The Normal Heart was the other one that was a really fun one for me. If you want a memorable one, the reason that was memorable was because I got to write an arrangement that appeared in a movie. So that was
What
really
movie?
exciting.
The Normal.
The Normal Heart.
Oh. I may have not seen that movie.
So, so there are several apocryphal Gay Men's Chorus stories. The one I'll start with is the Will and Grace story, where the New York City Gay Men's Chorus were supposed to be appearing, but they were all, in fact, men from the Gay Men's Chorus of LA, because, of course, it was filmed in Hollywood. And the politics around that
Was this the
not
new
good,
one?
because they were all identified as New York City Gay Men's Chorus by Jack in the actual thing, and they were all LA ringers.
Is this the episode with Matt Damon?
That, yes.
Where he plays gay?
Yes.
So then we auditioned to be ourselves again in The Normal Heart. and
The
And
movie.
we got the part this time.
Yay!
So that was exciting. So this time, it must have been 2014, Ryan Murphy's assistant's intern underling arrived at a rehearsal and said, "Would you like to be in this movie? We need you to look like yourselves." And I knew better, so I said, "Only if we can sound like ourselves as well." And they accepted this. And then they said what happened was the scene in the movie is one of the first fundraisers of GMHC, the beginning of the AIDS epidemic, where we're standing in a club singing, and one of the characters goes up and says, and it makes an impassioned plea about men are dying and da 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 da, and we sing "The Man I Love," the Gershwin song. Someday he'll come along, the man I love. And
We don't have the rights to that, so that's about as much as you can say.
Yes. Gershwin's really
No,
impossible.
If I think it's over 100 years old, I think it's fine.
Well, you can edit that bit out if it's a problem. But anyway, that song. And and so I said, I have an arrangement of that, which we know how to sing. Lying through my tin. And they said, "Oh, that's really good. We'll use that then." And so can you send it to us? So I was up till 2 a.m. writing this thing.
Oh my god.
And then at 8 a.m, I sent it in, and they said, "Oh, that's fine. We'll use that if you already know it." I was like, "Of course we already know
my
it."
God.
Okay, right. We better learn it. And then we went into a recording studio and recorded it, and then we again were in the movie. There was a day of filming where we were in some warehouse in Brooklyn that was supposed to look like a club in the 80s in Manhattan, and lip synced to ourselves singing the song. And then I got a little bit of royalties, which is kind of nice.
There you go.
Awesome. And you have like a credit.
Have a credit.
And so do you have a SAG credit? Are you a SAG member?
I had to sign a form. Let's put it that way.
Okay. I love it.
It's not actually SAG if you're it was a day thing to be in the movie. But in terms of the arranging, that's not really SAG. That's something different.
Okay.
That would have been a Grammy, right?
Whole tract.
on your way to EGOT. We'll get there soon.
That's right. Yeah,
You're on your way.
but what's fun about New York is that those kinds of opportunities. I mean, we sang with Neil Patrick Harris at Tony. So,
Was that the Not Just for Gays Anymore?
Yeah,
That one? No
Oh my
way.
God.
It was us.
And I just got to sing with Demi Lovato.
Well, she did a tour. We got to sing with her as well.
Yeah, well, we kicked off the tour, okay? You just keep your, Alan Cummings singing on Broadway and on Good Morning America.
Charlie's just got all these celebrities in his back pocket. Oh, did you need to see this person?
If you ask me these questions, I'll tell you these stories. But, I mean...
And you guys were on Good Morning America, which is, another, because you're in New York, that's a great opportunity.
Again, that was probably the most emotional one. I mean, in a different way. The day after the Pulse happened, and we got the call, and we were there in Times Square. We had just like one of those things where please can you turn up at 4 a.m. in Times Square for your sound check? And we're like, really? And so there we were, and it was cold. It was June, but it was cold. And so we just had to stand there like freezing in our T-shirts and jeans for 2 hours. And then they went, go! And off we went and sang in the open air, which is really hard. And something clicked. It was a very emotional moment. And then what we had, it's why I say now that video is a really important thing for all choirs to be doing. Because we got, over 1 million hits in a week from, all over the world. Again, internationalism. And I was getting emails from people from all over the world saying, thank you you articulated what we were feeling in the moment. And so I guess it's one of the things that they say is there's a moment in the LGBT choir world where someone hands you a megaphone. And you have to be really ready at that point with a good song.
Mm-hmm.
And then, boom. And that's what happened to us then that day. It was total luck. And I think the fact that they knew about us, we'd established a bit of reputation for being good at what we did. And off we went. So.
And now, what is your plan for San Diego Gay Men's Chorus? Because, you come from the New York Gay Men's Chorus where they're very much about... being out there and being loud and being proud and activist and stuff like that. And London is the same way. They're very much about being out in the community and doing as much as they can to be present and representative of who they are. So what is your plan with San Diego?
Well, I mean, it's developing. I've only been here 6 months. I mean, the first thing I think is to get, we have to sound amazing really fast. I think the thing about a choir is it has to be good. No one wants to hear a bad choir. There are enough bad choirs in the world already. You know what I mean? Particularly gay, if you count karaoke. You know what I'm saying? True. So I feel like I think that's important. We have some work to do there just to get our ducks in a row. But that's happening really fast and we're sounding great already. I think then it's about what can San Diego Gay Men's Chorus uniquely offer the movement that LA couldn't offer, or San Francisco on the West Coast, or Seattle. And for me, I think Mexico is going to be key to that. And so it was the first ever performance of Coro Gay TJ, the Tijuana Gay Men's Chorus, in July this year. And there's 12 of them and they're amazing and they're so brave. And we went and sang with them, and we're on PBS singing with them about 6 weeks ago, and we're going to do a show with them next summer. And so I think Tijuana, and it's the 10th anniversary of the Gay Men's Chorus of Mexico City, Coro Gay Ciudad de Mexico, in June. And so we're going to do in the summer a 3-chorus show, San Diego, Tijuana, Mexico City. And we're going to do the show in Mexico City, and then we're going to do it in Tijuana. And finally, we're going to do it at the Balboa with all 3 choruses present in each place.
That is logistically
yes. I'm mind.
That sounds like a next year problem.
Next year problem, yeah. I think, as I say, my first of all, amazing people, and exactly the same in many ways as all the singers I've met anywhere else in the world. but at the same time proud of their Mexican heritage and doing things their way and developing their own style. And there's something that is going on in Mexico at the moment that friends of mine there describe as being a bit like the US in the 70s. There's a moment where things are legalized, but hearts and minds haven't caught up with the fact that it's okay to be gay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly the moment. Like, if you're going to get shot for being in a choir, don't be in a choir. But once it's legalized and once there's a debate to be had about what the appropriate thing is, then choruses are a really good way. And people flock to them. And Mexico City, particularly, is bigger than New York or London. It's a massive city, and it's the place where all the gays in Mexico congregate to. And it's a very happening place. It's incredibly hip in all kinds of ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's also relatively cheap compared to other places. And so this big chorus has grown up really fast, and they're becoming the leader, not just for Mexico, but also for Central America and South America. So I happen to know all about that scene a little bit. And so if we can connect with them, and for example, San Francisco did a big tour and started new choruses everywhere they went in the US in 1980. And so I'm thinking that this collaboration that we're putting together could tour around Mexico maybe in future years. And we can start, it's eminently fundable but from LGBT organizations and arts organizations to do a concert tour where we went and started new choruses in every city we went to, found a conductor because then you're leaving, I think we often congratulate ourselves. Oh, we sing so well. They cried. It was amazing. And then you will go home. and life in the city where you sang is exactly the same. But if you can leave another choir there and then they have their own life and they'd start to develop their own thing, then that's when for me, it starts to get really interesting and fun.
So now tell us about what you have coming up with the Gay Men's Chorus of San Diego.
Well, this is the busiest time of year, really. Pride and the holidays are the two times when people want to hear choirs sing. So we have big shows coming up. We're going to be doing December Nights, which is a big San Diego tradition. And then we're going to do a gig at Tequan Casino. And then we have 2 nights at the Balboa on the 10th and 11th of December, Saturday and Sunday coming up, which tickets are selling fast, I'm told, particularly for Sunday. I think you can still, as we record, get
We're
some
going
tickets
on
for
Sunday.
Saturday. All right.
So we'll see you there. But
That reminds me, I have to get my boss to get tickets for Saturday night. Thank you.
Yeah. And I will say we're sounding great at the moment. There's a new energy. Everyone's excited. I'm sort of grabbing the reins quite hard at the moment and trying to do some.
This is Jingle.
It's Jingle 2022. So it's a fairly traditional holiday show. It may have a twist or two here or there to keep you on your toes.
Excuse
I can
me.
also attest that we sound good. We do. There's some times where I'm like, damn. It's like, okay.
When you come into a course that's already got a legacy and you're coming in, you want to make changes. How do you steer the ship?
Carefully.
That was a political answer. I love it.
Yeah. No, I think, there's one thing, right? As an artistic director, you're empowered to find a vision. And if you don't find a vision, or if it's compromised and put together by a committee who tell you what to do, it's never going to be as energized and passionate and powerful. So you have to really go for what you want. That's the first thing I'd say. But I also think that you have to be very respectful. One of the things I said when I arrived, I gave a little speech. I was told to give a little speech, so I gave a little speech. And I said, I don't want to create another New York City Gay Men's Chorus in San Diego. There's no point in doing that. So it's about finding out what the best San Diego Gay Men's Chorus can be, and then using my skills and expertise to make it that, right? And there are some things that are great about this group that I am finding more and more about as I go. And it's incredibly musical, and they sound amazing. They sounded amazing when I arrived. There was a sweetness to the sound, and yeah. So it's a fun instrument to play if you want to look at it that way for me. And then you always have to bring along some of the people who liked it the way it was before, you're going to lose some people inevitably, and hopefully you gain some people who hear that something cool's happening. I mean, that's what's been happening so far. Attendance has been really great, and people are coming back and saying, "Oh, I've heard a friend told me there's something great's going on at the moment. Can I come listen or, join?" So that's all good stuff. That's what you want to happen, and then it takes on its own life, right? Leadership's actually about a beehive. It's a beehive. It's not a command and control operation. It's a bunch of people who are all buzzing away doing their stuff, and then you have to just mold it and channel it.
As long as there's one queen. And that'd be Charlie.
Yeah. And then in the end, they all stab the queen. That's that analogy.
Well, I would say as a participant that Charlie can see the potential, and so there's a demand there that you leave chorus a little exhausted, but like accomplished. And I think that he came in and he could see that like there was great leadership before, and that put the course where it was, and then he was like, how can I now elevate it to something else? And it was just really just pushing to that next level. And I think Joe and I are feeling it, at least. Like we go back and we're like, whoo, that was a good rehearsal. That was hard.
Well, I'm also not a night owl, so I'm like, okay, stay awake. I can do this.
Your conductor does not want to hear that.
But no, if anything, I power through.
So my first rehearsal in New York, a singer who is now my good friend but will remain nameless.
But you know who you are.
Came up at the end of rehearsal and complained and said, "Listen, I have not been able to do any knitting this evening."
Oh my God.
And they were sitting at the back. And they assumed that there would be these quiet, boring moments where, I don't know, something else was going on, where they would just be able to knit a scarf while the rehearsal was going on.
Oh
and
my
I was
God.
like, well, congratulations. Welcome to the new New York City Game Experience. I don't think I'm doing something right if you can't knit.
Oh, he was knitting during rehearsal.
During rehearsal from the back row.
Knitter, please.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's fair to say I'm kind of like, come on.
Oh yeah. Well, I think the thing is like you hold people accountable, and you want people to give it, and it's like
it's so much more fun if you do. I mean, I don't want to. It's not slave driving, but it's actually just huge fun singing. If you don't, the joy of just really yelling in a space is, singing with 100 other people all singing too is really amazing and life-changing and kind of transforming it, and makes you into a feel good, and it also makes you into a better person in a funny way.
Well, and your participation and where you guys end up is all predicated by the participation of your members. So you want them to feel like, I do want to be here. I do want to put 110% into this. I'm not coming just to knit a scarf. It's like, I do want to participate and feel that sense of community.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
Well, and I'd also say, as somebody who has the background you have, you could come in with an ego and say, this is how this will be. This is what we're doing. But from my perspective, my observation is, hey, I'm going to meet with small batches of people. I want to learn. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what makes this group, kind of
unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that is why we have been successful over the last couple seasons with you so far. It's because, yes, you could have this New York City ego if you wanted to, but you don't.
But I also think it's good that you came from like London and New York into this, because, choruses are also very within themselves political.
Right.
So there's always like little factions that you have to try to work around or work with or get rid of. So,
I think getting rid of them is the interesting one. That's not really an option with the game. It's because once you're in, you're kind of in. And we love you all, however crazy.
There's only one way out.
That's right. And even then, they'll put you in the program. in the memoriam page.
Yes. All right. Well, before we wrap up, I want to know what so far. So 6 months in San Diego. What has been like your favorite part of San Diego, and what has been a not so fun part of San Diego?
The hardest part for me is that my husband is still in New York. So, and that's going to be true for another 6 months probably. And he's working out his, his time. He's got a job that he loves to do, and it's very well paid. And we want each other to be happy, so that's fine. But it's it's relatively hard coming to a new city and all of that. On the other hand, it's so pleasant and convenient and practical here compared to New York that it's hard to complain about San Diego in any meaningful way. And I'm enjoying the work and I'm enjoying my life here hugely. It's lovely.
And our tacos are amazing here.
Yeah. They have some tacos in New York, I'll just say. But, you probably have to know where to
You
go.
guys win on pizza, though. You guys have the water that
Yes,
makes amazing
that's
pizza
true.
and bagels.
That's
So
Yeah, bagels here. Yeah, I tried that. Let's just say.
my friend Katie's from Long Island.
Long Island.
And she's like, your bagels suck. Your pizza sucks.
All right. So before we get into our quickfire questions and everything, how can people find you? What are your socials?
So I have a website. I'm at charliebeale.com. That's a good place to start. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. I don't know how much longer I'll be on Twitter, actually, but
I was just going to say.
but I am still, I'm still technically there. And San Diego Gamers Chorus has its own website and also its own social. So you should check those out as well. And particularly our Instagram at the moment. It's got lots of cool things on it.
And then before we get into the quick fires, I did want to ask you, okay, since it's a holiday season, what are some great places that people should check out in like London and New York for the Christmas time
That's a
that
good
you think
question.
that you can remember? Because like Andy and I did New York for Christmas last year.
Right.
And so I made sure that we did like Rolf's, which is like the German restaurant that like looks like Christmas threw up in it.
Okay.
That was fun,
Right.
But it's like, is there some place in both of those cities that it's like
well, the
off-beaten
thing
path?
I love about New York City at Christmas time is that it empties out, so you
Huh.
can actually walk around and not bump into people. And there are particular sorts of tourists who will stand, look up, and film right in front of you at the top of the subway stairs. You're like, get out of the way!
Oh no!
and
Do you punch people too on your way out of the subway?
No, because I just hiss passively. Find my way through, probably. I mean, obviously in New York, Rockettes is an obvious thing to check out.
They were amazing.
The Tree, obviously at the Rockefeller Center.
Mhm.
I live in Brooklyn. I mean, we still have an apartment in Brooklyn, and
BK.
so I would say there's some lovely little restaurants and haunts that my husband and I would go to, little tiny artisan restaurants and fun things like that in Cobble Hill and Boerum Hill and around downtown Brooklyn. But it's I don't want to. It's a little too specific to mention names, probably.
Yeah.
A lot of hills.
But yeah, and I mean, New York at the holidays is actually lovely because it gets all lit up and all the sort of romance of Home Alone, the city in the movie of all the Christmas movies you've ever seen is actually real, and there it is. You can walk around in it, and there aren't so many people, and there isn't so much traffic, and it's kind of amazing. Particularly if you can get 6 inches of snow, which sometimes you can.
I mean, 6 inches is a pleasure anyway.
I walked riding. So you can, so that's always a pleasure. I mean, I like just walking the streets of New York. Sometimes it's a bit smelly, but
No yellow snow.
yeah. What do they say about New York? That you have to hate it, and then you have to love to hate it, and then you are a New Yorker. That's what they say.
Okay.
It's not an easy city to be in. It's expensive and dirty and inconvenient and just all sorts of bad things. And yet people arrive and go, "This is where I want to make my home."
The public transit, I would kill for public transit like that in California. I mean, I think we went, in June? And it was $2 or something to ride the subway all day. I'm like, oh my God.
And I have a semi-funny story about on the L train, someone the other day they closed the L train because there was a funny smell in a carriage.
Oh no!
Did
they
you can
identify
imagine
it?
every New Yorker it was just like, it always smells like that. It's kind of like, could it smell even worse?
Like, did it smell nice? Is that why you guys were worried?
Yeah. No, I know that was Fran Lebowitz. I saw there's a really good Netflix called Let's Pretend It's a City, which is basically a love letter to New York. It's also a love letter to Fran Lebowitz, who's amazing, but and also one of the gays. But yeah, and there's a story that she told that I've stolen. But it's so true. They do really stupid, paradoxical things like that.
Okay.
We have the trolley in San Diego, I suppose.
Yay!
I've lived here for almost 6 years, and I've still not ridden the
I
trolley.
haven't ridden the trolley yet either, and
I'm
I've lived
taking
here
it to
like
the
11
border.
years.
When I lived down,
I want to do it though, like, because it goes up to UTC, so they did the extension, and like you could take it, I think, at the mall.
And that's only recently.
No, that's really
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a newer one. So let's ride that one. I don't want to ride the other ones.
Well, I mean, I bike along that trail, and I was like, "Hello, I've never been on you before."
All right, so let's start with these rapid fire. What you got, Joe?
Okay, I have two. So, first one is, if you had to listen to any one genre of music for the rest of your life, what would it be?
And you can't say jazz.
That's really hard.
I can say jazz.
I guess
I'm by my
beatboxing?
nature. Yes, beatboxing. No, funnily enough, if for the rest of my life, it would probably be something classical.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only because that I have a sort of secret place inside that loves that stuff. That would make me happiest. But I could easily listen to jazz. I could also listen to early 90s house music. I mean, the music I went to gay clubs to back in the day.
Same girl.
Do you know what I mean?
I listen to all that still. Like, I have like my own little like, playlist with all like, late 90s and early 2000s. So I'm talking like La Bouche and like Rolo and Tintin Out
Right.
and all those like DJs and producers and groups and stuff. So
I mean, I love that stuff. Again, because it's the music I dated to, and it reminds me of a certain era and all of that stuff.
Right.
It's really great. I'm not sure I'd want to be on a desert island with nothing but that for the rest of my life, though. That would be a bit intense.
Boots and cats.
Boots and cats. Yes,
Boots and
right.
cats.
You don't want to have "Be My Lover" on repeat. I'm surprised that wasn't on my Spotify browse. There was a lot of playing that this year.
Like New Order, Blue Monday, or whatever it was called.
Mhm.
Yes, it's
Do you have
very
one?
Intense.
What, like an
A
answer?
rapid fire? Oh.
Oh.
Yeah. What would your genre be?
I don't know. Is delight a genre? Because I love them, but no, I guess not. I guess it would be like that's coffee house covers.
Oh my god.
That's a genre. So people who
What
just
is
do
that?
like, it's like singer-songwriter covers of songs. So because
like acoustic versions of
Yes, so I listen to a
could
lot
do
of that.
It's kind of unplugged, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly.
Oh, I didn't know that was.
And I especially love it when they rearrange it so it's like if it was a fast song, it's a slow song.
Okay, I do like that.
Mhm. So, what about you?
I think surprisingly, like music from the 50s.
That is surprising.
Is it?
Yes, very much so.
No, like,
When you say music,
I think
what do
like
you mean
I'm
by
talking
music
about
from the
like
50s?
like Frank Sinatra, like that, like Rat
Oh, so
Packy.
yes.
Like for some reason, like there's I think Tony Bennett does I Left My Heart in San Francisco, and I don't know what it is, but it's like, so I'm from the Bay Area, and like that just is like nostalgia for some reason. It's like I am back in my grandma's like house when she's like babysitting us, and it's freezing cold and it's like foggy, and then she was playing like Frank Sinatra, and then Mob Hits, like the CD that has like Rosemary Clooney, who is, I learned recently, not Italian.
No, that's like
George Clooney's aunt.
Yeah.
I thought my whole life I thought Rosemary Clooney was Italian when she sang Mambo Italiano, and I was like, oh yeah, that's my people. And then my mom was like, no. She's like, that's George Clooney's aunt. I was like, George Clooney's not Italian.
Okay.
It only took 32 years of my life, but that would be my genre.
So my rapid fire question for you is: what is a song that you haven't performed with the chorus yet that you really want to?
Dua Lipa Levitating.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. Oh my God. Is there like a bunch of hand movements to it too?
I don't know if we need all that choreography.
I mean, I can't do it. I have a hard time with
but
it.
you do have to do a lot of clapping.
Yes.
So that I mean,
Is that
there may or may not be a show coming up.
That would be like cool as like a disco kind of feel to
What's
it.
lovely is it's kind of 80s. It's original. It's got that retro feel, but it's also current.
Right.
Yes.
That's good. And then what's the Elton John, Britney Spears one?
Hold Me Closer.
Hold Me Closer. Yeah.
Hold me closer,
So-
tiny dancer.
Yeah. So that's.
I don't
good.
have the rights to that, so don't sue me.
I'm down for those. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are the kinds of songs. I don't know what's going to eventually be on the list, but I'm looking at all of those and commissioning arrangements the next few weeks for the spring.
You guys should do like a clapping, like a clap chorus like show where it's all songs where you have to clap. So you have like
You might need to preface because it's like, welcome to the clap show.
you're all gonna get the clap.
You're going to come in, here's some antibiotics for everyone.
But like, levitating, hand clap by Fits in the Tantrums.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of them.
You always just want to take over the artistic director's job. Let him do his job.
I like those songs because that means I'm in the chorus, so we'll be able to sing them.
So what's a song that you haven't done yet in the chorus that you think you would like to do?
Oh my God.
Bring it on me.
Yeah, exactly. Leave my heart in San Francisco.
Let me think. You go and then I'll think.
Oh God, you're gonna put this on me? I was waiting for you. For me, I think it would be like, what were those songs? I had like this whole list of like songs I think we should do. I feel like there should be like a yacht rock kind of show where like you do a Hall & John Oates, a little Air Supply, a little
So like
Foreigner.
80s rock kind of thing.
Yes, but it's just like that. I love that because that'd be my music
Everybody
genre
loves it.
too.
Why would a Game Into Chorus do that though? That's an interesting. That's what I've thought.
But
about.
that's the thing, though. That's you got
Are
to
we-
throw
are we
them
querying
off.
the,
You may
are we
ask why,
querying
but
the?
ask why not.
Yes,
Exactly. don't just
I mean,
like
300 gays singing "Living on a Prayer." Belting. Why not?
You wouldn't be you would be surprised. Come on now.
No, I'm serious. I've already. It's my
These
job
wheels
to
are-
have thought of these things.
I'm gonna
There's
tell
a-
you right now. He is gonna go home later and
Okay,
he's gonna
I
be like,
already have a name for that show. And
See?
it's quite rude.
Oh,
So
no.
I don't
What
know
is
if we
it?
could actually do it. It's Rock Hard.
yes, I
Damon's
love
chorus show.
that.
Called with just like it would actually be very harmless 80s rock, but I
See?
think the title might get us noticed.
And sell tickets.
I mean, it would have a guitar and
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't know what else you could think that
you
would
could
mean.
you could like drip paint or something on it, so it like
Yes.
looks
Yeah,
like.
get your
Right.
man out of the gutter, Paul.
Look, I'm a graphic designer now too. Like I'm gonna do the poster.
What piece of furniture best describes you and why?
It's really out of the blue.
I was like, what is a random thing that I could
Piece of
add?
furniture.
Just roll with it.
Can I have an appliance? Can I have a Cuisinart?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
you
I want
can.
a really top-notch cake mixing machine.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It needs to be red.
Cake mixing. There
You know
you
what I
go.
mean?
Like a KitchenAid, like a high-end
KitchenAid. That's
KitchenAid.
what
Okay.
they're called. Yes,
Are you a
yes.
baker?
I can be. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you a
Yeah.
master maker?
I was during COVID.
Did you have a sourdough starter?
What? Sorry. Yes.
Oh, no.
I like the rest of the world. Yes.
Do you still have a sourdough starter? Because we still have one that we started a year or so ago.
It's been- No.
It
And
had
I
black
also
mold
moved
for a second.
2,500 miles, so I didn't bring my sourdough starter.
You didn't
with
bring
me.
it with you?
No,
It wasn't buckled
in a
up in the
special
front
plastic
seat.
bag.
Ew.
So it's really stinky thing in my hand, like
It's like an organ in
Yeah.
Bathrooms
On dry
one chair.
ice. There you go.
So what would you be, Joe?
I think I would be like a nice dining room table
Oh.
because it's a staple and it's where everyone gathers to eat. I mean, I don't eat at my dining room table. I eat on my couch. But in theory, it's where everyone gathers to eat. So it's like a centralized part where people can come together and
Okay.
It's there for a look, but no substance.
yeah. I mean, I think my dining room table serves as like just a holding place of like junk
Okay.
and a plant.
It got way deeper than I thought it would.
Oh, I'm all about the symbolism.
See, I think I would be a fainting couch. I'm high end. There's really no need for me. But
Sort of chaise longue.
yes, exactly. I'm like,
With
I'm
red
there.
velvet, I'm imagining.
You
Oh
might,
my gosh,
it's
yes.
dramatic.
Is that a thing?
And is it really a
fainting
thing?
couch?
Yeah.
Is
They
it
call it like a
people would
fainting
faint
couch
on it?
or a chase lounge or, that kind of thing. I don't say it as fancy as Charlie does, but
He's European.
yeah. So thank you, Charlie, for being on our podcast. We really appreciate it. Again, check out San Diego Gay Men's Chorus. With
tickets for
Jingle
the show. Yep.
this weekend at December nights in
Go
San
and
Diego.
cheer Nick on.
And
Joe
Sequan on the
Yeah,
Sunday.
and then Saquon on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
the
4th.
the 4th.
That's right.
May the 4th be with you, but that's
Just
a different.
if ever in doubt, from December 1st until the 12th, there's like a show for us. Just if ever in doubt, we're singing.
Oh my god, are you guys doing the tree lighting in Hillcrest?
Yeah.
We are.
Oh, that's tomorrow. I was going to say the
that
first.
will be over by the time.
Yeah, no, sorry.
That's such a thing of the past.
Here, you can sing at you can sing at our tree lighting. It starts at 5:00 every night.
So how was the tree lighting?
All right. Well, thank you, Charlie. We were really chuffed to have you
Total
here.
pleasure.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for having me. I feel had.
And, and everybody have a great week.
Special thanks to Andrew Smith and Nick Stone for producing the show. If you like us, please follow us at TUGaysPod on Instagram and visit us online at tugayspod.com. You can find us anywhere you can stream podcasts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know topics you'd like to hear. And always remember, stay safe, stay classy, stay sassy, and always stay a little bit trashy. See you next week.